So, hello everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Cunts, the program, show, podcast, whatever the fuck form you're listening to this in, for cunts, about cunts, and today with a couple of cunts. So, my name is Saoirse Wong. I am a woman's holistic health coach and Tantra teacher. And my awesome and most amazing guest today is Rose Wood, who is a wellness coach and stress management facilitator. Now, I've known Rose for, is it a couple of years now? A year, a
It's
couple? It
two?
feels, is it two? Okay. It feels like forever.
It
And
does.
not in a bad way forever, you know?
No,
Right?
we've been through stuff.
We've been through some shit storms, and you with your programs literally saved my life when I was in the middle of butt fuck nowhere with my small son. So yeah, so I owe you a lot, and I'm very grateful for the gifts that you um, brought to me and to the women that you were facilitating in that circle. So it was profound, and I so appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm really appreciating you for bravely jumping on this awesome
Mm.
program with me. And for the topic we're going to talk about today, which I know, like myself, is a bit angering, like it is for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are going to talk about female burnout, um, which is so prevalent in our society right now that it's sad, but it's more unusual to see a healthy woman. I don't
Yeah.
even know if they exist, if you want an honest answer, as opposed to a woman who's falling apart right
Yes, yes.
now.
Yeah. And that's why I would say we were sort of talking about this before, but why like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wellness coach consultant because our wellness, our well-being is so important to me. So important. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I do what I do too. The getting into the holistic looking at, because women, oh, such a loaded thing. Women are complicated.
Mhm.
Our ecosystems of our body, our mind, and our spirit are far more complicated than the male ecosystems. And science, just sadly, in the last 4 to 6 months, has started to acknowledge, oh, you are complicated. You're not broken men.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah. So yeah, and we're still fighting for a
Mm.
lot of things. Like let's talk about it. It's 2024. So if you're listening to this in the future, the past, or the present, um, as of August 2023, they only started using blood on menstrual products. Right.
Yes.
This one I think blows our mind. And that shows how little they understand our body or respect our body in the medical system.
Mhm.
If you
All
have, yeah, go ahead.
No, in all systems. I just wanted to add,
Oh,
not
yeah,
medical.
right. Exactly. Well, yeah, because all systems are designed for men, not women. And we are not supposed to exist for anything other than breeding. And that's all the medical system has looked at us for is, are you healthy enough to breed? We don't really care about the rest. And that's why, again, why I went into Tantra. Sexual dysfunction. Well, it only matters if it matters to your husband,
Mm.
right? Menopause and perimenopause, which is where my heart lies, doesn't matter because it only matters if it affects your job or your husband, right?
Mm.
And we're finding we're so complicated, it matters.
Mhm.
Everything about us matters
Yes.
deeply.
Yes. Yes. And I know we were talking about quickly of like
Hmm.
what's the topic for today. And yes, it's
Hmm.
but burnout leads to so much more. And there's a frustration and an anger of like, why was the world not set up for us and
Hmm.
us to succeed? And it started back in like elementary school is where a lot of my frustrations are. And so it's not just burnout, it's like how the systems have been designed for almost us to fail or just not recognizing us. And
Hmm.
that has frustrated me because now the world has just been like, well, this is how we do it. I'm like, well, here we are to shake it up. It's not how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, yeah, I 100%. It was never designed for us to succeed, or even exist in.
Yeah.
And we're lucky, you and I have a bit of a privilege in the fact that we're white women.
Mhm.
And so we kind of are allowed to have a little bit more of an existence. but that's still a shit existence.
And if I'm feeling that as a white woman, what are other women feeling? I
Yeah.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're basically told we're broken when it's not that we're broken. It's that the world doesn't have space for us.
Yes. How I feel it is the world doesn't see us as individuals.
Amen.
Yeah. And that's like I wanted to once say, like, I help multifaceted women. I'm like, wait, we're all multifaceted.
Hmm.
That's a woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That is with it. I mean, we look at our cycle,
Yes.
the what those hormones do to our brain and how profound that is. We become literally a new woman every month.
Yeah.
Then when we start our menstrual cycle, we become a whole new being. When we end our menstrual cycle, we become a whole new being. If we have children, we become whole new beings. Like as women, we are constantly becoming whole new beings.
Yeah. Yeah. And like what systems are in place to support us? And this is what led to my burnout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that no one acknowledges that we have different needs. And that's what's like, I want to like, I want to mess with it or make some changes because it really bothers me. That like teens, teens aren't held in space of what periods look like. Like my partner's 9-year-old niece is like taught like, oh, you bleed, and they're like, ew, okay, bye. And that was the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. I remember in school, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you do, when we learned about sex ed or we learned about it, the drawing of I'm going to do a quick, really
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
drawing of it because this is all I remember of the female reproductive system, which is way more
Darn,
detailed.
we can't see it.
Oh,
Can you come
hold on a
close?
sec.
Okay,
Can I
okay.
get closer? Where's my
Almost
camera?
there. Okay, okay.
Ah,
Okay, so kind of
this is
looks.
going to mess with someone. Okay, hold on. Blurring the background is so much fun sometimes. I'm going to do this for a sec. Okay,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Does everyone remember that horrible
I
drawing?
do remember that.
Okay.
Isn't
I'm
that
going to
what it
guess.
looks
Well, here's what my
like?
brain went. I literally thought I was walking around with a body with that image in it. It wasn't until I really started studying the female body
Okay.
that I realized, oh no, it's just like this in my body, and that the bladder's above it, and and your other bits and bobbles are down. Like
Hmm.
this is how it's
Yes,
orientated in my
yes.
little brain.
It was.
Forever, it was orientated like this.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how bad our system, like,
Okay.
that's how little we know about our body. And
Yeah.
like you bleed once a month. Ew. And then
Mm.
that's it. And you bleed because you didn't get pregnant.
Okay. Yes. Got. Okay. Wow.
Right. That's
This hurt.
that's se- that's sex ed. But boy, did I learn how to put a condom on a banana.
Yeah. And also, like when you imagine this drawing, like you said, or maybe it's more like this,
Yeah.
um, which I was taught, like our uteruses are all different sort of angles, right? Like, but
Oh,
if you know that growing up in high school, if you use tampons,
mhm.
tampons go straight up then. And then that didn't work. So I'm like, this isn't working. It's because sometimes
Exactly.
it's this way or this way, like more towards the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girls
Yeah.
who are listening, I hope you just got some education there. Like, what? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
straight up. Yeah.
No, no, not. And that's also why when you have sex with a man, his penis doesn't go like this. It's supposed to. Anywho, and that's why their penises are curved the way they are, and that's why when they get shamed for it, it's like
Mm,
usually that there's a design.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
let's go back to burnout because I'd really because again we're here for conversations. This all plays in, but I really want to talk about what led up to your burnout and what happened
Mhm.
and the enlightenment afterwards or the rage that's still there or
Yeah.
what what's processing.
Yeah. So I think there was a few things that led up to my burnout. And I'll talk about one side of them and then I'll talk about the other side.
Mm-hmm.
They are kind of different. one side is, and this is where I like to help if I ever have one-on-one clients, is get to this, is we all have traumas, and traumas are sort of still running and ruling our lives until we work on them. Now, some people might say, work it all the time, feel the pain, put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. I don't operate that way. I'm like, there's a gentle way. I'm still someone who cares about our nervous system, like ownership. I don't know if that's the right word, or permission to have your own say. Like, for example, last night I was at a networking event and we asked questions to each other, and someone said, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to answer. And I was like, exactly. You feel comfortable in your space and you process your own stuff your own way. And another guy was like, no, we're doing it and this is how we heal. And I'm like, no, that's how you heal. And how can you put that on everybody? So
Oh, dude, that can I unpack that just for a sec?
yeah,
Right, because I think that you're coming like those statements right there are really powerful for people to understand that there's several stories running in the heal world, and the way that obviously gentleman was speaking is a very masculine way of getting into healing, and it's dominant in the
yeah.
healing world because what's dominant in the healing world are men.
Mhm.
And then we have how Rose works, who is uber, like I always think Rose is my uber feminine friend. Like, and feminine, not like I'm very feminine, but I
Yeah.
have a different feminine flair. But when we think feminine, I think Rose, very soft and sweet and um with this current of power, but
Mhm.
you're very soft and flowy. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? Like
Yeah.
I'm more of the punch go.
But you still have like, I think of like feminine as like a hold embrace of like,
100%. One,
yeah,
like I will hold you till you need to be held and just a little bit longer so I know that you know you're held.
yeah,
Um, but and that's a feminine principle of when we look at trauma is like, oh, this needs to be held how you need it to be held.
right. Yes.
And as women, we're taught about the other. And
Mhm.
so when we do healing as women, we're healing the other. We're
Yeah.
not worried. When masculine does healing, it's me,
Ah,
right?
okay.
And so that's why they're like, get it done. I don't care what you're
Yeah.
feeling. Let's
Yeah.
go. Boop, boop, boop. I need this done. So, and that's where the play comes in of balance. Because sometimes you do need to go, okay,
Mhm.
enough. Let's move.
Yes.
But we need to, like you said, guard your nervous system, be present.
Yes.
And something that women have never been allowed is this powerful word of consent.
Mm,
And
mm,
so that's really important in the healing process is that safety consent word.
exactly. Exactly.
And that is a big female holding concept. So when
Yeah.
we're dealing with that, I think that when you work with a practitioner, look for someone who's going to offer you a much more female concept of consent as
Mhm.
opposed to a masculine do it because I say.
Yeah. And even when you say that, I'm
Yeah,
like on defense, I'm nervous, and I
absolutely.
don't want to be myself. I want to sort of fit into the box that society has told me to do.
Right.
And that I don't like. I don't want to be her. I want to be me.
Hmm.
Yeah. And you
Oh,
said something there about, and it just brought up a thought. We were talking about how you have a hold embrace of people. There's something about you is that you accept everyone as they are. You have your own self and you are who you are and your opinions, and everyone else's are welcome too. And
hmm.
that is soft to me. Like, I
Hmm.
can be me, I can be silly, I can be crazy, I can be kooky. I remember in one of our women's circles, I said this saying, and it has stuck with me, and it's now become my like tagline, my slogan. I even put it in my partner's Valentine's card, and he's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you don't know my saying." I We all get to be unique ponies, and I'm like, I just picture like a Pegasus or a unicorn or a straight pony or a little pony, a donkey. Like we're all different types, and you hold every unique pony for themselves. But society doesn't let us be unique. Um, so that's sort of more in the other part of the other thing. But
Yeah.
that what I was going to, of like, we all have our traumas and
Mhm.
we show up in different ways to heal them. I am not the one who is like, do it, force it, jump into this. And what that would have been is working with my boss. Um,
Mhm.
she obviously could have taught me things and I learned some, but there was too much like clashing or friction that I just shut down,
Okay.
because that's what I did as a child. If there was
Mhm.
too much fear or scariness or loud anger, I shut down because that was safety for me.
Mhm.
Don't get involved, don't be big because your brother's being big. You have no space for that, or you might get hurt.
Mhm.
So I shut down because I was being confronted with something that was affecting my wounding. And so that started to put me into a place of, if you think of it as a light, which because I often do, I
Mhm.
was in, or my energy was like, okay, you know, like I wasn't myself. And doing that along like enough, you go down. Like I think of that game where you hit all the like things that come up.
Oh, the bopper game?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the gopher or the bopper
Yes,
game? Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
You hit enough, and they're just like, I have no more energy to pop up. And that popping up is being you. And so I just got to a place of like weak, low self identity, low self worth, because I was constantly being confronted with my wounds that shut me down.
Mm.
That was one part of it. The other part was, I don't think I had space or was held to have my differences as a woman because I was in a corporate job. And,
Mm.
you know, it might be like my other coworker's a female, but she has some other needs. I'm a female and I have other needs. No one ever looks at your specific needs and says, what do you need? And this is what, like, I can feel it like burning in like anger in the low
Mhm.
belly area, almost in my womb, of
Mhm.
why are we not allowed to be different? I wasn't allowed to be different in elementary school. I had to
Mhm.
in order to pass. It wasn't allowed to be different in high school. The only way I could be different was with fashion.
Mhm.
Otherwise, like if I was different or learned a different way, you were like, no, like you can't do this. You have to be in our box, in our confines, in our restrictions. And that held me back. And so corporate jobs often do this. And this
Mhm.
is where I'm like, that it's like you start at 9, you take your lunch at this time, it's this long, then you end at this time. Like nothing, there was so many rules. I felt restricted. And I think I've felt this for too long. It like hit me to, it gave me a breaking point to do the healing. Uh,
Mhm.
And
I
yeah,
love
I
that.
don't like, I want a day that's like, you have your period, so you can sleep in. Like, I once applied for this job that was like anyone with a uterus can have menstrual days. I'm like, wow, that
Where
is
was that fucking
for
job?
Channy, Channy Nicholas, astrology, online Instagram. And I've never heard that. Like, you can start when it feels good for you. Yes. You
Oh
can,
my God, I'm just so much blessing, so much blessing to
thank
that
you.
soul,
Yeah.
so much blessing because that is my fucking dream.
Yes.
Like my fucking dream is
It's
for
like,
women like to be able to
yeah.
live in their cycle and
Yeah.
their life because this is about expansion,
Mm,
right? Everything in a okay, I'm going to sound like an asshole. I don't care. This is fine. But everything in the masculine construct is about contraction.
okay.
It's about like for how we have it right now because it's unhealthy because
Yeah.
it's about quantification and it's about hierarchy and
Yeah.
it's about money. It's not about humanity.
Okay.
So the and then we'll have a discussion later about the concept of masculine and feminine because that's a huge loaded gun as well because it doesn't actually exist. But for conversation so that people grasp the masculine we have right now ruling the world
Mhm.
in that energy is really about controlling and concise.
Oh, okay.
So hence why when you bring a female body into the world, which has its own dynamic of control, it's cyclical.
Mhm.
And so we have to live in the cycle of it.
Yes.
which is also why we hate Mother Nature and try to destroy her, because we don't like the cycle of regeneration and destruction.
Yeah.
Because we think we should constantly be going boop, 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 boop till
Yeah.
we die.
Or boop, 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 elevate, elevate, elevate.
Right. Which is not, obviously, as we are witnessing, not functional.
Yeah.
This is why we're causing burnout, depletion, both in
Yeah.
our planet and in our women and in our children.
Yeah.
And in the male bodies as well. They're in a depletion, but it comes from that concept of I need to control, quantify, and keep growing.
Mm.
And so we put you in schools to force you to live that way. And
Mm.
we cut off all the bits that don't fit.
Yes. It's like
Um,
in my box or else no.
yeah. And how dare you
Yes.
exist in any other construct, which is, again, why we're also seeing right now the retaliation of the heavy Christian thought
Mm.
process. And this comes predominantly historically from religion.
Mm.
Religion does the most damage for thought processes
Mm.
because it removes
Your own.
anything that is God, in my opinion.
I feel like it removes your own intuition and tells you
Absolutely.
the rule.
But
Yeah.
that's God.
Okay. Wow. Okay. This is not what I think of God. So
No,
okay.
well, so yeah, I don't like God is everything. Like I
Yeah.
come from a child, so God is everything. So if you remove anything, you're removing God,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So God is all encompassing, blah, blah, blah. We're getting into an ethic. This is another, like, we could talk about this for hours because it's not, God is nothing, God is everything, God is balance, but right? Like we get into these things. But religion, for controlled sake, is
Mm.
about making sure you don't have access to yourself, which is God,
Oh, I see.
right? Because I need to control God so that I can keep in control and make sure things show up how I feel safe,
Yeah. Hmm. And
right?
I feel safe. Is
Yeah,
that actually me? And like, is this how I feel safe? Or is it what you're told is safe?
it's what you're told. Well, for whoever started all of this bullshit, it's how they felt safe. And then
Okay.
they were a big enough bully to beat the shit out of everybody to fall in line.
Okay.
How's that? Because basically religion is bullying.
Okay. So funny. As we were thinking, I was thinking of my talk today, I was like, it almost comes down to bullying.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's basically our society is built on a bunch of bullies.
yeah, like I was bullied by, and my boss probably wouldn't think this, but, and it's not that she was mean to me, it's just that my trauma was being affected. So I felt bullied. I was bullied by the corporate systems. I was bullied by my boss who said, no, you can't hire a boss. No, you can't have different hours. Like, and people might be like, really, Rose, you're using the word bullying. I felt bullying is like I felt controlled to
Mhm.
wear a place I couldn't be me.
Right. And that is bullying.
Okay.
Our societies and religions are built on bullying, which is why we can't systemically remove it from our society
Mm.
because it's everywhere, it's prevalent.
Mhm.
Um, and if we go to the original trauma of why it was created, it was somebody didn't feel adequate in who they were.
Mhm.
If we go into, so they struck out with jealousy and went, fuck you, but they had a loud enough voice and a big enough stick to repeatedly beat out the difference that scared them.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, so like that's really what we're doing. How dare you be you
Yeah.
because it's not me and
Yeah.
you scare me, so I'm going to beat you because actually I scare me.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
Right?
So I just got to the root of like how I'm,
Everything? Yeah.
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 And guess what day it is today? It's like anti-bullying day.
No, are you fucking kidding
Yeah.
me? Oh my God, that's
They didn't
hilarious.
plan this, people.
Oh, that's the okay. Nope, did not. Well, when Mama Universe needs a voice, that's what I'm here for. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So those are the things that trauma being
Mhm.
triggering and not feeling comfortable to process it in the space
Yeah.
and this confine, these structures that just didn't work that I finally had. And I believe I have to hit certain walls or certain points because I believe I'm cyclical like this, or some people think it's this, but I think I have ups and downs and I'm a wave. I'm with nature. There's spring, cold, like, yeah. And
I think you're more like this.
oh, I like that.
Like I think you're more like like this is like my image of like if we look at you energetically, I think you're more like that helix. You're like a
Oh,
right, and then
okay.
sometimes we kind of got to slide down,
Cool.
and then we slide up.
Mhm.
And really, that's more true to the nature of humanity as opposed to the masculine testosterone concept of either this or this.
Ah,
We collectively are more like
I like,
this.
okay.
And
Yeah.
then if we look at a female body and energy system, we are a little bit more this,
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
we have this.
Yeah. And I think what it is there's more flow to
Hmm.
this instead of lines.
Right.
You go straight up and that's you better succeed or you better have growth, the graphs.
Yeah. Yeah.
No graph is like,
No.
or 3D, like that's female energy. And that is what I was held back from being. And my
Hmm.
body shut down to a place of burnout to be like, you are going to learn this and integrate it. Because how I learn is integrating things into my body to know the results so that you can teach this. And because
See,
it,
that is okay. This my body just tingles. That is so female, right?
hmm,
The female is about integration into body. This is again, Rose, why you are such a female practitioner
hey,
because you literally embody the female of being embodied. Like I still hit my brain a lot before I move body, but I know how to do it because
yeah,
it's just where you are just full body,
okay,
which I think which and that is really female, which is fucking terrifying for most people because Rose would feel it, right? And people
yeah,
go, no, I have to think it and then avoid it. But it's processing down. That's so feminine. So
yes.
thank you for saying
Okay.
that because
Uh,
it's so important because so many women are like, oh, it's in my body. And it's
yes.
why women have so much burnout. And right now,
Mm,
almost all of us have autoimmune disease issues
a lot.
because
Oh,
it's in the body.
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I said to my partner once, if school was taught about intuition or how do you feel, I would have rocked it.
Yeah.
But because it was very like, use your brain, hold the data, remember the data, be able to tell the data. I'm like, I can feel it. I could like dance it for you.
Hmm.
But I can't. Yeah, I can tell you my emotions I had when that was said. Yeah. So, and guess what? Like after, I guess it's been 3 months of not being at my job because I've been on medical stress leave.
Hmm.
The other day I was walking past Lululemon and this man was outside. I was like, oh, he's gonna rob the store. And my partner was like, I don't think so. How do you know that? I was like, I felt it. And he's like, what? I'm like, I just felt his energy go whoosh. And I used to have this as a kid. Like I was able to detect a robber in a bank and be like, Mom, he's
Hmm.
gonna do something bad. She's like, no, he isn't. And then he robbed the bank. Like I've had this, and that was so shut down, but it came back. And sure enough, we waited because he's like, I don't know. So we stood around, we waited, and they robbed the bank. Oh, sorry, not the bank, the store.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm coming back to that, which is my true essence. But that was shut down.
Hmm.
That was hit over and over. And I was like, no more. And so I knew I had to take myself out of what was holding me back to do my healing.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, how can I help more people with this? And it's bringing awareness to it. It's bringing into corporations. It's understanding that we are all different. We all need different things. Like, why can't some days be 7 days and some days can be 8 days and some days like, why can't I start at 6 or start at 9? Why aren't there this flexibility instead of rigidness? Yeah. Yeah. So, and also like somatic and movement, if it's in our body, how are we working at getting it out?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to teach
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's profound what you're
Yeah.
saying. It is
Yeah.
profound. Um,
Oh, I have to say one thing.
yeah, say as much as you want. That's
I
what we're
went
here for.
to the doctor to say, I have burnout. They said, what makes you think that? And I was like, well, I feel this and this and this. And they're like, oh, that's depression.
Oh fuck.
And this was the example he used. So are you saying to me, if you leave this job, you won't feel this anymore? I said, yes, because I know that. And he goes, no, you just have it. You are always depressed and this has triggered it. And he's like, let me explain a situation to you. Let's say there's a guy who has a heart disease and he starts running and then this like affects his heart. Would you tell him to stop running or would you say, well, you just have a heart disease, so it's what you have? I was like, I'd tell him to stop running and start working on his health. And he goes, no, this man will always have a heart disease and it doesn't matter what he does. And so he was basically saying, you are just depressed. It doesn't matter what makes you upset. Just take the drugs to not be depressed and you'll be fine. Then you can
Well,
court
welcome to
plenty
the, yeah,
fanatic in
yeah,
our society if you just take the drugs.
motherfucker. This is why I avoid the medical system, like because honestly, like it started with hysteria. It
Mhm.
started like honestly, if a woman says it, it's a lie. How
Wow.
dare you think you know yourself?
Yeah. How dare you?
And
I
how
know
dare you question my authority? Because I went
that.
to school for 10 years and I studied some drugs.
Yeah.
Did I study an ecosystem? Did I study a body? Did I study a person? Did I study nutrition? Did I study how organs work? No. Or how
Did
they
I
function
study
together?
intuition?
No, definitely fucking not that because that's
No.
not real.
No.
Um, did I study energy? Did I study quantum theory? Did I study any of this shit? No. I learned how to prescribe a drug and tell you you're fucking crazy. And especially as a woman, you are really fucking crazy and don't know anything about yourself.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that's so like right now, the amount of depression pills that women are prescribed, it's the first response that doctors give.
Anything.
Oh, you have a uterus? You're
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, yes, I should be depressed in this society because fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I go to rage because that is my energy cycle to move me. Like that is, I know my boundaries. I've been pissed. I have a voice for a reason and I will use it. And I've been punched in the face enough that I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing about becoming a menopausal, perimenopause woman crone. You don't fucking
I
care.
do.
You love it. And
I'm
this
on
is
the edge
all,
of that. And I'm like, this
yeah,
is good.
yeah, I am too. I am just starting it, but I have been waiting for this blossom all my fucking life. I'm like, it's finally here. And I'm going to tell you where to go or how to get there. And I don't care anymore. Right.
Oh.
But that is how the medical system deals with all women.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you're depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Here's some pills to shut you up, numb you down.
Yeah.
Don't, here's birth control to mess with your cycle so you don't even understand your cycle, how to live in your cycle, feel your cycle,
Mm-hmm.
be yourself because your cycle is you.
Yeah.
Oh, great. You're on menopause. Well, first of all, we don't actually believe that's real. That's just a feminist joke. Don't get me started.
I know.
Okay, so actually you're depressed. So you're hitting menopause, you're depressed. So here's some more depression pills. And oh God, you're gonna have to have hip replacement because you're just gonna collapse and crumble into nothing. Right? Like that's the medical system for women. We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to talk about polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, sexual dysfunction. No, because your libido is for men. So if you have a low libido, here's some
Take another,
depression pills.
yeah, take another pill.
Here's another pill. Because that's all doctors know is how to prescribe a pill, not how to heal. And doctors are not there. Like, look, I go to my Western doctor when I know what I need because he's the access point to get what I need. That's it. It's the only fucking reason I take my son and me. I need this.
Yes. Yes.
So I know the information and I'm also kind of a bitch to be like, this is what I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of male doctors have not appreciated that. And I'm like, no, my body, my thing, here's the stuff, shut up, give it to me. But
Yeah.
they're the gatekeepers to that because we're not allowed access to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the whole realm of women is we're not allowed access to ourselves. Why? We're fucking powerful and we're fucking scary as we should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. And then that is like, shut that down.
Yeah.
I think over time, shut that down. Shut that down, Rose. Don't be you. Don't be unique. Don't be individual. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
multifaceted. Don't like, I'm like, diamonds are multifaceted and they're strong and brilliant and beautiful. And like that shutdown over time hit me to burnout. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say quickly, there's times I've used a doctor. I've gone for a broken
Yeah.
and I have had a cyst burst and they could help me. Yes. But when I feel like what we could do more often as women, which I try to teach women, is to connect to our intuitive self or our higher self or whatever you want to call it. This
Mhm.
wisdom, this inner wisdom that we have, um, is like check in first. But are you at a place of like on the verge of burnouts? I think there's a degree of burnout. Like, have you hit rock?
Yeah.
Are you there that you can't even hear that?
Hmm.
That's what like killed, like broke my heart. Like
Yeah.
you've shut me down, not you like pointing fingers at people. Society and how
Hmm.
it's run has shut me down so much that I can't tap into myself anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I want to change of like, and it starts with schools and it starts with workplace. And those are the areas I want to go into to do talks and workshops and seminars and teach them about what it looks like, how it feels, and maybe disrupt something to be like, hey, are we doing this right?
Well, we're not.
I know, but I want them to see it and to and to question it because I've already questioned it.
Yeah.
I know it, but I want, and another thing I was talking about last night is someone said I was people pleasing until I was about the age of 41. I'm like, don't you think that should be brought up in schools? Like these things we shouldn't get to when we're older. It's
Hmm.
nice that I'm getting there, but I wish I had these tools to learn these lessons younger.
Yeah. Where would we be if we had been allowed to be ourselves from utero on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Full goosebumps, like hair standing.
Yeah.
Like that is, I could cry to that. Where would we be if we were allowed to be ourselves? Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can't, like, it's so sad that I can't even imagine that is what that
Yeah.
is. So, yeah, which I'm grateful to have a child at this moment to possibly
Yeah.
witness that. I mean, I'm going to fuck him up in his own ways because
Yeah, we all do.
we're, well, I mean, part of it is we're, like you said, we're swimming in trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if the stank's going to get on him and mommy has some issues,
Hmm.
and so our job is much to heal mine
Yeah.
so that I can create a place where he can experience himself.
Oh, so great. And you know
But
what? Your son isn't just in relationship in this world with you. He's in
no,
relationship with you and your partner who had like he's in relationship with people at the store, with kids at the preschool, with the teachers at like we're in relationship with so many people and we all have our traumas and then it all just puts into
exactly. It's this,
cesspool.
right? Yeah. So I think that's again like like in tantra and all of this stuff. It's why it's so important to sit with self, heal self, become the vibration that when you walk in the world,
Mhm.
your vibration is so high that you heal others and walk it.
The ripple. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, no, now I think now that Ripple song from that
Oh,
movie, the Christmas movie. Oh my God, I love that movie. Um, that's Spirited with Ryan Reynolds.
okay.
Anyways, good Christmas movie. The song in it is like plays in my head all the time. It's a good
Mhm.
theme song. Anyways, but yeah, it's so we ripple, we affect each other. I mean, we're made mostly of water for a reason. So we
Mhm.
can affect each other's vibrational field and learn to sing each other's songs.
Nice. And if you think of water, back to what we were talking about earlier, how does
Mhm.
water move?
It moves like Rose.
Yeah. It isn't just like still straight. Yeah. And nature shows us that. Do we pay attention to it? Like these flowers are not perfect. They're unique. And are we trying to make nature a bit more yes.
Yes, very
But
much so.
nature's here to show us imperfection is beauty. And I want people to know that about themselves and the world to accept that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's just very painful right now
Mhm.
because we have a large collective of people who are in terror of themselves
Mhm.
and of uniqueness.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
in so much terror
Mm,
of that uniqueness.
hmm
Yeah.
Unique pony.
Yeah. And now I've like My Little Ponies. God, I love that show.
Yeah. I loved that. We could
Loved My Little Ponies.
me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Still
And if
do.
Care Bears, we could all be different. Like
Yeah.
we were allowed.
Oh
Did-
my God. Having a son, going into the toy store, I'm like, I'm buying these all for me, not him.
Yeah.
Can I collect the My Little Pony? They're mommy's toys. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Aw. Wow. I feel like we said a lot. We got to a lot. And I hope people understand where we we are passionate women, and I know you can feel it in this talk. And we're passionate for a reason, because we want change, and change that helps humanity heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it starts with us, and that's the journey we're doing. And that's what I was held back from. It was
Mm-hmm.
don't be Rose anymore. I call it my Roseness. Like my Roseness was shut down,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted my Roseness back,
Yeah.
my essence. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And it'll be and I'm so glad that you honored that, and I find it where I get angry is you have to fight for your
Oh,
roseness, and
right.
you had to fight the system,
I
and
have a
then
kid, and I'm still.
like yeah, but here's the thing is your livelihood is now taken away. Like you have now, how are you paying your bills? How are you creating? Because we now go into a different struggle of survival. Because we don't fit that box, we're
Mhm,
not allowed
mhm,
to have the access to money to
mhm.
pay the bills to survive.
Yep.
And that's the
And
only
that's
and so it's like, how do we create where everyone has access to thriving as themselves? And that's the for me, that's a really frustration point because I don't work well in those systems at all.
me neither.
I am
And
allowed
yeah,
tell you how it is. And I some bosses have appreciated it, others have been like, you need to go. And I'm like, I need to go. And so and I'm not apologetic about it. Again, that's the nice thing about getting older. Don't fucking care
yeah.
anymore. But what I'm frustrated with is going into this holistic world that we're living of wanting to help and heal people. As healers in a non-medical construct, we're told that our stuff isn't valuable, so we have to starve to help.
Mm,
And that is not fair. And so I find that a lot of clients that want to work with me, I don't know about you,
mm.
cannot afford what
Yeah,
I'm charging
yeah.
because the access point for most women financially is not there because it's been controlled. So even though they want this, they can't
Mhm.
afford it.
I
And then
know.
I'm stuck in a, well, I can't lessen my prices because I
Right.
need to survive as well.
But I also
So,
want to help these people to make the change.
right. But if I don't hold, listen, I've been in school and studying longer than most of the doctors we go to.
Yep. Yeah.
Seriously, I have lifetimes of information coming out of this little gap hole. And that should be valued.
Yeah, but
And
it's
value right now is thrown through the dollar. But
mhm.
as women, we have such a small access point. So as women, we need to put our money in other women to expand that
Yes.
wherever we, and that's a really big thing for me about is creating access points. But I need to pay to live in the most expensive city in the world right now. I have a son to take care of, and my knowledge is valuable.
Hmm.
It is
Hmm.
more valuable than most of those doctors that are getting paid right now well, because
Yeah.
they're not there to heal you. I'm here to help you, as are you, help
Mhm.
you heal you so
Yeah.
that you have the tools forever.
Mm.
And that's really important as we're doing this work is to like hold that floor.
Yes. And when you say that, I think one thing that goes through my mind is like a limiting belief or a story that keeps repeating that I'm trying to change is, well, yeah, you don't have enough because you're not educated. And guess what the thought thinks? Well, you're not a doctor or a lawyer. Who taught me that? High school did. No wonder this is like a loop, a limiting belief, because it was imprinted in me. well, you're not educated unless you have a degree or two, or like, unless you went to university. Well, I didn't go to university, but I also have a lot of experience and a lot of trainings. Yet I don't see them as valuable because society didn't tell me they were valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to shift that in myself so I can actually maybe speak it to the world, and other people are like, yeah, we hear you, Rose. We're now, I'm not confident in that yet, so they don't hear it. They don't
Mm-hmm.
trust me. But that's coming from a wounding.
Right. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that, like, we don't maybe believe that. Like, some people might say, "Oh, so you're a wellness coach? Like, well, what are your, how, like,
Credentials.
credentials?" Thank you.
What are your letters and what are your
Yes.
credentials? Um,
And I'm like, okay, I'm not that good then. And I'm like, Rose, like, yes, you are. Like, I love how you put it. I have way more knowledge than a doctor. And yet
way
it's
more.
not seen that way. It's not perceived as you are um credible.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
that
yeah.
frustrates me.
We also live in a society that says women aren't credible right off the get-go,
Uh,
right?
okay.
Like you have to remember that we live in a society that because I have a female voice and you have a female voice,
Yeah.
we are not credible. We lie.
Mm,
Like everything that comes out of our mouth in society is a lie. And how do we know that? We look at what's going on in the world. Women are trying to attain body autonomy. Look at
mm,
the States. Body autonomy is being ripped away left, right, and center. If a woman says she's raped,
yeah.
she's
Yeah.
not believed.
No, this is, yeah.
And that is fundamentally in our law books system. And
Yeah.
like, look at like the most famous example right now is Bill Cosby. How many women had to come forward
To prove.
to prove, and they still didn't believe those women. They still don't believe those women
Mm,
because we don't believe women. You went to a doctor and said, I have burnout. And he said, no, you don't.
mm,
And
mhm,
you're like, yes, I do.
mm.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right? This is, you are fundamentally lying.
Yeah. What makes you think you know?
Yeah, you have a uterus that
Yeah.
automatically shuts you down as intelligent, right? We look at the blowback of on online or TikTok, whatever, of trad wives and men creating dominance and wanting women to go back to traditional roles.
Mm,
Um, okay, those traditional roles were roles of control and torture. They were
mm,
not, which looked pretty. We put some lip gloss on a pig and went, look, it's beautiful.
mm,
And so we're trying to put the lip gloss on, and it fundamentally goes is we don't believe women are
mhm,
human
mhm,
or have humanity.
mm,
And that's part of what our work as these holistic teachers are is you are human. You are sovereign. You believe you are here and you are needed and you are beautiful and you are unique. But we have to get to the fundamental core of society thinks we are liars. And that
mm.
fundamentally goes back to religions. Eve, I forget what the lineup in Judaism and all the rest of us. Basically, we did the original sin. We're fucked for the rest of humanity. That story was
Mm,
stolen and manipulated to make women the evil.
mm.
So we have to combat the illusion that we're evil
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly. That's
Once.
exhausting. That's
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And that's for me where I think the feminine exhaustion is coming present in the world.
Mm,
And each one of us is manifesting that exhaustion in her way.
mhm.
And so, but we have to see it to heal it. We
Yeah.
have to feel it to
Yes.
heal it. And that's what we're
And
going
yeah,
through.
and that's like where I got to a place of feeling it to be able to heal it. But
Hmm.
I would like to educate more people to understand what they're going through,
Hmm.
so that they don't have to get there. I don't know if anyone will, because sometimes we need to hit our point until we learn
Hmm.
a lesson. But maybe there just needs to be more education in the world of like, oh, I didn't see it that way. I didn't notice that because of this, I'm actually burning out, or because of this, I'm depleting my essence of me, my uniqueness. And I feel like you said something earlier of like, because we want to share these tools, we have this wisdom, this knowledge, and maybe we can't because we're not getting paid enough. And what happens is others might think, I wish, okay, I know someone who thinks this. I
Hmm.
wish I could do what you do, Rose, and go out on my own and be an entrepreneur and do things from my heart, but I can't because I need to get paid.
Hmm.
And so that pulls them back in to the
Which
like
is which
cycle.
is the point.
I know.
Which is the
I
point of the
just wanted to bring
system.
it up to like
Yeah.
put it out there. Like
Yeah.
this is what's hold. These are the what do they call them? The golden handcuffs.
Yeah. Yeah. It is the point of the structure.
The structure.
It is the point of the structure. So when everyone's like, the structure's breaking, I'm like, the structure is good. It is healthy. It is the strongest it's ever been. It is mwah, it is rolling to perfection. Why? Because it is removing our humanity left, right, and center. Humans aren't structures.
No,
Humans are humans. We're energy, we're
we're energy.
creativity, we're sexuality, we're connection, we're all of these multifaceted things. Structure is rigid,
Exactly. This.
right? And so yes, there has to be some, and that's where the balance of energy we can play. We get
Uh-huh.
into the story, balance.
Mhm.
But that's why fluidity is important, because balance in nature is, here's a tree and there's many things weaving, but even that tree bends to the light,
Yes.
and the light is the information and the structure, but light is intangible.
Mm.
Water is intangible, but
Mm.
that's still structured. Like we talk about
Mm.
structured water. What's in structured water? We can't see it, it's intangible, but
Yeah.
it's what makes my body function.
Mm.
That's structure.
Mm.
Rigidity is what kills us, and it's what's killing us.
Okay.
We think rigidity is structure. It's not.
Ah, I like that.
It's rigid. It's that.
Differentiating. Nice.
Yeah. So it's
Mm.
really, yeah, it's going in that. And I think I don't know about you. I know you went through your exhaustion. I've had my exhaustion. Definitely this year has been the most exhausting year of my life. And I can chalk part of it up to postpartum and starting the perimenopause journey, but most of it is this rage at the structure and the
Mm.
destruction of female humanity. And so my passion is women. We and you'll hear it in a lot of my conversations and quite a few. I don't fucking care about men. I mean, I do
I know.
fundamentally, but I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And so, because where I see the pain point is my fellow sisters.
Mhm.
Where I see the healing that will do the most to change us is my sisters. And I don't care if the sisters are born as a sister, or if
Mhm.
they have a uterus or they don't, but if they identify in any construct as a sister or non-binary, you are my fellow.
Yeah.
Right now my anger is thrust upon the identifying masculine penis owners
Mhm.
that do not want to see the humanity of others. I'm also pissed off at my sisters who are doing the foot, as Mona Athway says, the foot soldiers of the patriarchy. Those bitches piss me off
Oh, as
so much. But I see their humanity more because they're trying to survive.
Mhm. Mhm.
They are attacked and victimized and surviving in an identity that allows them some breath. So I'll hold a little bit of compassion for them. But for the jailers, I have very little I have rage. I will eventually, I have grief mostly because rage is grief,
Yeah. Okay.
but I have grief towards them for their lack of seeing the humanity and the destruction they're creating.
Mhm.
So hence why I will predominantly only ever work with women, because that is what needs to be healed to heal us all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yay. Yeah. And we are here for that. We are here
mhm.
to disrupt, change, and voice it. And that's what I love is you're bringing a voice to these conversations and topics. And, that's where it starts. This is
Yeah.
going to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
agree 100%.
yeah.
It's putting it's getting that energy out there and having these discussions, and whoever lap it falls on, may it serve them how it needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I feel like that's a beautiful place to end. may whoever's lap it lands on may it serve you. How it needs
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Big topic.
Yeah. All with burnout.
Yeah, I know, but yeah. And and then the next thing is how do we get over burnout? How do we do that? And I think
Yes. Yes,
that's
yes.
another huge conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. That's why I say I'm a wellness consultant, or is like I've been studying that for a lifetime of like
Mm,
how to heal, but I've never actually hit. And it's kind of weird. I used to I used to do doTERRA. When I say do doTERRA, it's because it's sort of like
yeah.
multi.
The multi-level
Yeah.
marketing. Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
believe in essential oils. I believe in the
Amen.
healing
I do too.
benefits of
Yeah.
medicine and plants. And
Hmm.
it's just I used to like hope and pray, like, I want something so hard that I understand how to help people. And I'm like, whoa, Rose, like careful what you wish for. Like, and I got it. I got like I hit like there's like I said, there's different areas of burnout, and I hit a pretty low place
Hmm.
where like demons in my voice were telling me things. And I'm like, no, this isn't you. But it was hard to fight it because it was so loud because I was so weak. Um, and oh, where was I going with that? Something about the
Oh,
healing.
okay. Yeah.
Been like
Hold on.
healing, doing the healing work forever. And
Yeah.
now I know what to heal because I
Oh, I
finally,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
I think that I have to pause this for a minute because I've got to pee.
Okay.
And then we're going to continue this.
Yes.
And so everybody else who's here, we're pausing for a moment and go pee. Or if you're listening to this, pause and pee. Join us on the female bladder. It's a beautiful thing.
Yay.
Yay. Hold on 2 seconds because this is really cool what you're saying.
Okay.
Pee break over.
Back.
Yeah. I know. Commercial break. Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun,
love
dun,
that.
dun.
We're allowed pee breaks. No one says what the rules need to be.
Well, they do, but we're changing that because if I
Yeah.
gotta pee, I'm gonna fucking pee because I'm an
Look
adult.
at
That's
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. And it is also how my body processes it. Like I can tell we've been doing a lot of spiritual work. When we do that, my body goes, woo.
Okay. Gosh.
That's how my body's always worked. So
Okay, cool.
anywho, let's continue because that was brilliant what you were saying. So please continue.
We were talking about, I've been doing healing work, wow, maybe since I was 7 years old. Healing,
Yeah,
learning, taking in courses,
ditto. Yeah.
experiencing. And I'm like, when am I going to use these tools so I actually know how to implement them and help someone? So please, source, energy, whatever, God, someone, universe, bring me an ailment so that I can feel it because I need to feel it to know it.
Hmm.
And it did. Thank you for not making it awful. Like it was, I could have had I'm really afraid of high speed and car accidents, my biggest fear. And I could
Yes.
have had a really bad car accident. And thank you for not making it that scary. Yeah. So
Well,
I had some,
what you're working with is scary, and it
yes,
okay. It is a car accident,
I
Rose.
know, but my fear about car accidents, pain, like constant body pain. I guess it was pain, but it was more emotional pain.
So so when I work with exhaustion, I'm
Yes.
usually dealing with someone when it's reached the point that it is physical body pain,
Hey, wow.
right? So it does manifest in like that's autoimmune disease is
Okay.
physical physical manifestation of the body pain. So
Hmm.
when we're healing, there's I always remember when the teacher says it. So it's quadrants that the body
Hmm.
will talk to us. And so emotion is the first level. It's like I'm going to make you miserable, depressed,
Hmm.
angry, whatever. We're gonna trigger emotions because it's going woo 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 woo. And then
Okay.
if you start, and then all of a sudden that's it's like when you live in the city and you just start to ignore sirens.
Hmm.
Okay. So then the body goes, oh, you're not listening anymore. I'm going to
Yes.
give you pain. Beak,
Okay.
beak,
Like
beak,
what?
beak, beak.
Because
Okay, here we go. This is
yeah.
why the medical system hates us. Every person manifests
Okay.
differently,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Because I've
So
had
where,
different types of health issues, but it's not
right?
hurting me.
Okay, that's a health issue. So in the body things, then we start moving in different realms, right? So it will start with aches and pains.
Mhm.
It will starts with colds.
Mhm.
You're easy to get colds and viruses and stuffy noses and you tired and all of that stuff.
So
Then it starts to go to joints. Then it goes, joints are achy, pain, twisty, oh, sore muscles, tension,
that.
fascia,
Yep.
all of that stuff is that manifestation.
Yes.
Okay, not listening. You're not stopping. You're not going. Okay, now I'm going to make you, I'm going to go a little sicker.
Mm,
Oh, now I've got things like colds, COVID,
got
flus.
that.
Okay, then we're gonna go a little harder into the joints. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now you're gonna,
There.
now you're gonna be like, oh, all of a sudden my wrist is this, or my shoulder is this, and neck is this, and brain is this. Okay, nope, still not listening. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with some headaches and some migraines and some nasal issues. And okay,
Got
great.
that.
Still not listening. Awesome. Now I'm going to go, now I'm going to really start hitting you. Now I'm going to start breaking down your organs. So now I'm going to give you stomach issues, heart issues, liver issues.
This.
Oh, you have a female body.
Mhm.
I'm going to the uterus.
Yeah.
Woo! Polycystic ovary, endometriosis, vaginismus, pelvic plane, incontinence, bowel incontinence, baby, let's go. Let's keep hitting you harder. Oh, no, you're a female body. You can take lots of fucking pain. Let's go, bitch. You can keep going because nobody listens to what you're saying. All right. Now I'm going to go heart disease, osteoporosis, dementia,
Mm.
death. Rock on, sister. Okay. Death
Wow.
is the last one. So that's what all of those
Okay.
manifestations in the body is.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
When do you listen?
Well, that's the point. The body is like the body's intelligent, and so is our heart, and so are all of our systems. They're beautifully designed, and they're all to be like, sit down, pay attention, be who you are, please show up, we need you.
Mm.
All of this is a warning system that you are off track of who you are meant to be and show up and be present as.
Off track. Yeah.
Okay. The other coordinate that we move into besides the body, and that's a big one, is connection. Okay. This is where usually men fall apart because first of all, they ain't good connectors because they're taught not to be,
Mhm.
right? So this is the beautiful thing about how women are wired and men are wired. Women come into the world hardwired for connection. Everything about us is connective.
Yeah.
Men have to be trained for connection.
Okay.
They come into the world with a desire for it, but they
Mm.
have to be trained,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
So it's why like as little boys they're like spastic because like I need to get out somewhere, and little girls can be like
Yes. Engaged. Yeah.
ah, little
Mhm.
boys like ah, right because someone needs to go okay, run like a motherfucker and now sit with a tree,
Yes.
and then he goes oh it's a tree right, but he has
Uh-huh.
to run like a motherfucker. But we let boys just we plug them into the wrong things, we
I
let them run,
know.
we disconnect them.
Just
That's
gonna.
society
Mhm.
because they need to be
Yeah.
whatever the fuck that story is. Okay. So connection is the next place. So your body's falling apart, connection goes. We start to lose friends,
Yep.
work, business, family. We shut down.
Even desire to connect.
Yeah. Shut down. Shut down, shut down, shut down. Okay.
Let's
That's your
avoid and isolate. Yep.
yeah, that's your next sort of the next warning system in the quadrants of you need to stop and fucking do some work. Okay.
Mm.
And then because of the way it is, it's survival. You get pushed into survival. So that is where we get territorial,
Mm.
hoarding,
Mm.
dominance, cruelty, traumas all show up there. Okay.
Mm.
And so we play with those things. So for all of our emotional, spiritual, mental beings, is all of those are warning systems to say, hey,
Mm.
this is not what you came here to become.
Yeah.
So the problem is we're told to ignore all of those
Exactly.
so that we can't become what we came here to become.
Yeah. I feel like the teaching of ignoring that is fit in with us. Just keep going. Like the
Mhm.
hustle culture, which so against, but the
Amen.
pausing and listening and slowing down is no, that's bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, fundamentally bad to the structures and the architecture that is created right now in society.
Yeah.
Is if you slow down and breathe, which I find really funny because everyone's like, I'm a breath coach now. I'm like, are you?
I'm like, I'm not certified, but I know about the breath. Like,
And it is important, but we're
yeah.
not teaching breath We're teaching breath because we need it to be able to get through the day to work so I can keep plugging in and showing up and making money, right? And a lot
Mhm.
of the breath coaches are doing it because I want to make money because I don't want to be, I guess, but we're
Breath,
not going,
like stop and witness
right.
what is mechanically happening in my body that I don't even have to think of. And almost like thanking that, like acknowledging your body's magnificence.
Yeah. But if I acknowledge my body's magnificence, then the whole size society falls apart,
Yeah.
especially as women. If I don't want to look like Gigi Hadid or whatever her name is, or Zendaya, which I can't,
Mhm.
then I am systemically flawed, and so therefore I should be beaten, constrained, controlled, right? I am
Yeah.
a plus size woman with huge ass and huge tits. Some days I'm happy about it, some days I'm neutral, and some days I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I've come to, again, joy of being older. This is what's fucking here. I need
Totally.
to do some changing because I need to be more comfortable and I need to be healthier to move the process. Or I don't. I have a really healthy body. Although
Mhm.
she's speaking right now, no.
No.
Okay, so I need to do some changes, right?
Yeah.
But that's working with your nervous system and that's really being present and allowing the process. And this is also a process that isn't a one and done thing.
Yeah.
Like the tools that we are teaching are something that you have to do for the rest of your fucking life, which
Right.
again is also against society because we want
I
a
know.
checklist. Healed, great. That trauma was healed. Like
Yeah.
people
I'm
are always
done.
like, yeah, okay, I did it. I'm healed. Woo!
Yes. Yes.
I woke up.
Totally. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
This is lifetimes of work.
Yeah. I say as a yoga teacher, you can get to a certain posture and you can't be like, yay, I did it. I'm a yogi. I'm flexible. I'm done. There is a next level and a next
Mm,
level and a next level. And it is a forever practice because that's what it is, a practice.
amen. That's what I always say too. This is practice. This
Yeah.
is not perfection.
Yes.
Perfectionism is a coping mechanism for trauma.
Wow. Yeah.
Practice is life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And how do you show up to practice?
Yeah.
What is your state, your energy, your openness? Are you like you said, are you like, okay, I'm here to tick, done, did that. I can now go back to this.
And that is an issue that I have to constantly work with is because I was raised, you have a tick list, you tick it off, you move on, get it done. Done,
Mhm.
done, done. Because that's how I was shown. I was not a pretty girl. I was not a thin girl. I was not attractive. So I was told that I have to be highly functional to have any value, and I better be fucking smart,
Wow.
right? And then but don't be too smart because you also don't want to challenge. Because if
Right.
you outsmart them,
They won't.
that's another fucking issue. So you have to be
Yeah.
just smart enough to show some value, but don't be like and right. And so you're like again, Barbie, greatest fucking movie ever made. Mwah!
So liked it.
Completely understand
Yeah.
why the movie industry fucking hates that movie because
Yeah.
it puts it all right there.
Yeah.
Puts it all right. Here you go. You want to know what's going on? Here's Barbie.
Hmm.
Here she is. But that's exactly what's going on. It's like we have to do this kind of
Yeah.
checklist. And so I've had to my constant thing is I like a checklist. I like it, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it's not, I am not a checklist.
True. Yes.
Right. And that
You're
is my yeah, no, my constant practice is like, Saoirse, don't go to the checklist. Like, I mean,
not.
have it, but it's not what your value is.
Hmm.
And it's not how much you got done on the checklist or how big your checklist was, or yeah.
Yeah, and I love how you said like what you were ultimately trained as a child or trained or whatever,
Hmm.
reconditioned,
No,
conditioned.
I like the word trained.
Yeah,
We're fucking trained.
yeah,
No, no,
of
no.
like,
Don't get it wrong. We are
okay.
fucking trained.
I think of trained like, hello, teacher in class today. This is the program.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't, but it was. It was
You
like,
were trained. You were trained from your mom was trained in utero. You were trained in utero. This
but
is
that it's
training,
like
baby.
we were trained to be a certain way to have worth and value.
Hmm.
And why aren't we, as we are, as unique ponies as we are, enough value?
Because
And
I can't quantify it.
mm, wow.
And I can't see where I fit in the hierarchy.
Yes, I can't see
Right.
why.
Right. If you get to be you and I get to be me, How do I know me is worth more than you?
Yes.
Where do I sit in the pegging? And that's where we kind of go, well,
Wow.
honey, I'm trying to remove the ladder. There's no pegging here.
That's right.
But that's very uncomfortable because I've not been raised understanding I'm here, I'm valuable. I've been raised, I
Too.
have to be better than to have value, and it comes from, again, safety and love. We
Mm.
don't come into, like, I always used to get so mad as a kid. Everyone's like, we do it for the children, we love the children. I'm like, there is nothing on this world right now that shows that we love children. Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing. I don't care. I know there's parents that say, oh, I love my children. Do ya
Mm.
really? Because I'm looking at how you're living in the world you're letting be here. I'm
Do you,
gonna go with
is it more
no.
selfish, you're thinking?
I'm thinking all of the construct. It's there's we're not healing our trauma. We are
Okay.
not letting children show up and be children. We're trying to control other
No,
people's children,
fair.
not because we love my child, because I'm scared of your child turning my child into what I don't want. I
Yeah.
find my identity through my children because I was never allowed to have my children.
Mm.
I don't care about your emotional being because mommy's having a needs of her wine or whatever. Listen, we are, and I'm totally respect. I have my trauma issues too, and there are moments where I'm like, woo,
Oh.
mommy's putting on Paw Patrol because mommy needs to go sit in the bathroom and poop by herself because she needs 5 minutes before she kills you.
Oh.
Okay, that's a survival thing. I totally get it because I don't live in a world that goes, hey mama, you're not supposed to do this by yourself because children are actually valuable.
Mm.
We need to go back to a culture of collectivity.
Yes. Oh,
So no, we don't care about children and we don't care about women. We don't love them and we don't understand what love is.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So
Yep.
yes, people will say, "Oh, I love them." Okay. No, you kind of don't because you don't understand what it is.
I feel like some of these you said, and this resonates with me. I work with children sometimes, as you know, at
Mm-hmm.
is like we don't let them be themselves, which comes back to like what I'm here to say. Like, why aren't we letting
100%.
people or children be themselves? It needs to be this way so I feel comfortable.
Yep.
And then if you look at that, it's slightly selfish. Like, so who are you doing
100%.
this for? Like, don't touch that, don't say that, don't do that. I love how you are with your son. Like, he dropped it, he's fine. He did that, he's fine. Like, it's all like you are letting him discover himself. Now,
Mm-hmm.
some people might think, well, we're meant to teach them because we're older and wiser. But children are born with so much, they teach us so much. Like,
Children are born and they've got there's a study out of the UK. Fuck, I wish if I can find it, I'll put the
yeah.
link. There's a study out of the UK that shows all children are born with genius level intelligence. All
Mhm.
children,
I
whether
believe.
they come in with Down syndrome or whatever kind of thing, genius level.
Mhm.
By the time you put them through school and they reach grade 12,
Mhm.
2% to 4% maintain that genius level. So our education system
Mhm.
is systemically creating the dumbing down of humanity.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yes, children come here to
Mhm.
teach us to remember what we are going back to, right?
Mhm.
That's why the Egyptians worshipped death, is because we're going back to our original state.
Wow.
So children being so close to from death to birth are
Yes.
here to remember or remind us what we're going back to.
Mm.
But we live in a world that hates death, is so terrified of it, has no honoring of it, that
Mhm.
of course we're going to try and remove that brilliance in every possible way we can.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's yeah. Yeah. I always tell
I
them
know.
children are wise and I want
Yeah.
to learn from them and to let them be their own self and let them mess up, do things wrong. Like it's okay. That you don't need to be the same. Back to like you don't need to fit in society's box. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, no, we are not designed for boxes,
No.
which
Yeah.
is why it's taken, what are we at? 2024? It's
Mhm.
taken over 2,000 years to attempt to crush us into boxes. Um, I think if it's taken us 2,000 years, we were never designed to be in a box.
Yeah.
And we're still trying, but we're also crawling out of that. Right now, we're crawling out of
We're
that.
trying,
Thank
but
God.
some people are still fighting, like, no, like me, like this isn't right for me. Or
Mhm,
you're like, this isn't right for me.
mhm.
And we're maybe disrupting, or I
Yep,
picture like a root in a cement of like, no,
I
I don't want to be in this cement.
I know, and I think that that's always what gives me hope is when I see when I'm like really broken by society,
Mm,
which the last few weeks have been really breaking my heart and soul.
mm.
I look to and I see that flower or that moss or that thing breaking that structure, and I'm like, motherfucker, that's what we're here.
Yeah, nature is like, yeah, you were wise.
Yeah,
We need to follow you more.
yeah. Well, no, that's who we are. Nature. We should be
Mm,
living in nature,
yeah.
and there is ways. Look, I love running water. I love a flushing toilet. I
Mm,
love these things. I
thank
love
you.
heat,
Yes.
but
Yes.
there is a way to do it that we can collaborate with nature
Yes.
and each other and
Yeah.
everyone's individuality to create this inclusive, expansive world that is not harmful.
Mm,
But
beautiful.
that 1% that is in charge is so fucking terrified,
Mm,
so fucking terrified of us, the little flower creaking through, that they're
mm,
doing everything they can to systemically crush us.
mm.
And then I remember that flower always wins.
Yeah.
So and that's with them putting as much poison and pulling it and still wins.
Uh,
That's what I always have to like. I don't always I that again why I work with women is when we sit
yeah.
in these conversations, I go, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like
We
I,
are
I
the flowers,
yeah,
whatever one we
we are whatever we need to
plants,
be.
the branches, we are.
Leaves, the grass,
Yeah. Like
whatever.
so beautiful when you think of women that way. I'm like, yeah, we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Women feed my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again why this is why these conversations are really important to feed our soul. And when you're about to collapse, you pull out this and be like, oh yes,
Yeah,
we got this.
got this.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I picture when you say that, it's like another hand grasping and holding another hand, and eventually it will be a giant circle and we are together. But it's like one at a time, one hand, next hand, next hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. There's
Mm,
reaching it. I think that's yeah, and I think that's really beautiful, Rose. I like that. That warms my heart. I
mm.
think that is what we have to remember as us doing the work that we do and to remind ourselves we're reaching out to hands.
Yes.
And so the more hands we gather, the stronger this gets, and the more hands we hold. It's really
Mhm,
that's what's going to end
mm,
this very painful phase of humanity
mhm, mhm.
is that the reaching out for hands. And
Yeah.
only women know how to do that.
Mm,
It is in our DNA to do that.
mhm,
And
mhm,
again, I'm going to say that yes, those who identify as women and those who non-binarily, yes, you are in that inclusive of you know how to reach out to hands.
mhm,
And
mhm,
that's what this is about is really expanding the concept of our consciousness and humanity and our collectivity.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, collective. Yeah. We
Yeah.
are stronger together,
Yeah. Which
in
is
like in community and connection.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah, always,
Mm,
always.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
That was a big topic. I
Yeah.
think we can again, it's like again, conversations we can go on for hours and
We could.
hours. And I would love to, if you're open to it, do another conversation if
Yeah.
you're open.
Yeah.
We can start where we start and end where we end. I think
I
that's
agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
this has been awesome. And it's been nice to feel like there is a space to say what I want
mm,
without judgment.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Now, once it's loaded onto the world, we must be prepared for that judgment. But I think that again, what that hand holding between
Mm,
is about is like, I'm gonna hold your hand. People are
mhm,
gonna say some horrible shit.
mhm.
Great. Until you grow up, I
Yeah.
am not gonna really listen to you
Yeah.
because that stupid shit that people say is from a child, I'm in fear statement. great. But when you're ready to have an adult conversation, I'm here. If you want to grow up, we're here to help that too.
Yeah.
And if you don't, absolutely fine. And if you've got to deposit your asshole statement, great. But just know that we know where it's coming from. And it will probably hurt some of the shit. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
And
And then
also,
I'll go, what?
I know what's in my heart for me
Mhm.
right now to be true for me.
Yeah.
Can I grow and evolve? Yes.
Amen.
Does it need to be approached in a harmful way? No, thank you. Not for me. It's not how
No,
I like it. Maybe you
no.
could ask me how I like feedback. Whoever wants to give feedback. But yeah, I know I'm changing and evolving, but right now, everything I've said is true and right for me and feels good.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
And that's what matters. Yeah. And I think that's a really key statement. This is the beauty of women. We are about evolution.
mhm, mhm.
And it
And
is
that's not bad.
that no is beautiful. Like
Yeah.
that we are literally like we give birth to new generations. We are evolution embodied. And
Yes.
so when someone says evolution's not real, I'm like, fuck tard, have you seen a child lately? That's evolution. Right. But so like, and that's really important as women. We are constantly evolving. And every time we heal a bit of ourselves,
Mm.
more of us is present for that evolution.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Mm.
All
Well,
right, my dear.
thank you. This has
Thank
been so
you.
good.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for sticking around for our
Yeah.
conversation with Coffee with Cunts. If you want to work with the beautiful Rose, all of her information I will figure out somehow will be somewhere below. I think by now everyone knows all the blah 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 shit. Pause, bell, whistle,
Uh-huh.
save, share.
Yeah, share.
I don't know, whatever you want
Yeah.
to do.
Do what
If
you
it's
want to do. Do what feels right for you.
exactly.
This resonates, you're gonna click, 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 click.
Exactly. If it didn't, you'll be like blah 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 blah. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
works for me too. you know.
Great.
So awesome. All right, Rose. Thank you so much.
Yay,
Yay.
thanks.